A raccoon choking on cheese, a horny dolphin, a pig named Kevin Bacon, 1,000 donated mice, and a parrot rescued by a bag of Doritos. You know, the animal kingdom is vast, beautiful, and weird as hell. And in 2024, your news refresh here covered all sorts of bizarre animal stories. Everything from the world's ugliest dog contest to a fish falling out of the sky and cracking the windshield of a Tesla. I'm Greg Ott, and we're breaking down our top 11 funny animal stories of 2024. And before we get going, don't forget to give us a like and a hot subscribe to get more stuff like this in your feed. Thanks. And with that, we start at number 11 with one of the biggest events of the year, the Olympics for frogs. Three fine amphibians, the likes of which are no strangers to murky waters, just made major strides towards the bronze, silver, and gold at the Dusky Gopher Frog Olympics. This video comes to you out of the Memphis Zoo on Friday, where a podium made from boxes of exam gloves awaits a trio of amphibian athletes. These competitors in the 2024 Dusty Gopher Frog Olympics are among what the Memphis Zoo describes as some of the finest hoppers in the world. And with names like Beef Stroganoff, Big Chonky, and Kevin, can you blame them? Before a full stand of paper frog faces, Stroganoff, Chonky, and Kevin each make their way across the stapled down playing field, with jumping sticks and glove-ensconced hands on site to encourage the formidable frogs to make their athletic leaps towards the end of a long ruler. In spite of the logo, this event in Tennessee does not appear to be an official competition of the 2024 Paris Games, but it is part of a joint research collaboration between the zoo's amphibian team and a biologist with Rhodes College, with the zoo writing on Facebook that they had these frogs jump to see how a change in environment may impact their locomotion. Ahead of the competition, some frogs were released into an outdoor pond enclosure, while others remained in an indoor enclosure. And the research team ultimately analyzed their jumping ability, total distance jumped, endurance, length, and height of jumps to spot differences among the frogs between these two enclosure spaces. The idea is to see what changes these frogs might go through after being released into the wild via the zoo's reintroduction program. As their website notes, dusty gopher frogs are a critically endangered species native to the southeastern USA, and they say there are only about 250 of them left in the wild, and only about 600 of them in captive zoological institutions. And when they're not busy battling it out in an office supplies Olympic-style competition, they're being cared for, bred, and ultimately released back into new wild populations, as the zoo says it's helped do for the past 20 years. Back at the main event, the hard-working judges awarded Big Chonky the third place position, scored Kevin the second spot, and vaulted Beef Stroganoff into the frog jumping record books with a gold medal first place finish. Of course, none of these medals actually look to be made out of real gold, silver, or bronze, and ever the poor sport, Big Chonky leapt off the podium upon the presentation of Stroganoff's top finish. Coming in at number 10 is a story from March that maybe you'd like to wake up to one day. Yeah, there's a baby red fox being carefully nursed with a syringe, held down by... Yikes, what the hell is that? Well, even though it's got the appearance of a red fox, it's neither the red fox or the fantastic fox you were probably thinking of. Instead, that is the executive director of the Richmond Wildlife Center, who's doing her best impression of a mother red fox as it cares for this orphaned kit. As noted on this Wildlife Center's Facebook page, it is important to make sure that the orphans that are raised in captivity do not become imprinted upon or habituated to humans. To prevent that, we minimize human sounds, create visual barriers, and wear masks for the species. And thus, this Halloween handling of this little thing here. And this matter doesn't just involve covering yourself in the face of a girl or guy fox. The little thing also sits on top of a large stuffed animal that's supposed to resemble the mother fox. Our wildlife director sporting the mask there says that this whole disguise thing makes it more likely for the kit to possibly be reintroduced into the wild someday. So hey, maybe the next time you come across someone in a mask like this, there's no need to be afraid. They're just trying to help. Also from March, coming in at number 9, we've got this story about a loose pig with an appropriate name.
Friday night around 8 o'clock, I'm watching TV and my wife comes in the room and says, Jake, I think there's a pig on our driveway camera. And I'm like, you serious?
That guy lives in Wisconsin where, yes, this 450-pound donut-eating pig named Kevin Bacon had made its way to his back door on Friday. Our man here took to the telephone and soon determined that Kevin Bacon had wandered over from a nearby farm, whose owner had been out of town for the weekend.
Yeah, that's definitely my pig. He's a big black pig? I said, yeah. He's like, yeah, his name is Kevin Bacon. And he's actually a little lonely, so he's probably just looking for company.
With the assistance of the Kenosha Sheriff's Department, this guy and his family were able to help out this nearly half-ton pig named in honor of the star of Hollow Man by escorting him a mile back to his home, a journey that took 2.5 hours, about 30 minutes longer than the running time of Hollow Man itself, and also required the man's daughter to climb on top of the pig's back to get it going. After using Oreos and stuff they found in their fridge to lure Kevin Bacon back to his farm, our family here claims they think they made a lifelong friend.
They all wanted to adopt him immediately, and I said, we don't have a place to put a 450-pound pig, but yeah, they fell in love with him right away.
Now, if you're sitting at home, in your living room or another room, watching this and thinking to yourself, hey, at the News Refresh on YouTube, this is old news. You already did this story. First, thanks for subscribing. And second, that's not true. Now, what we did do is release a different story last November about a different pig named Kevin Bacon that escaped from a home in Pennsylvania. In that instance, the actual actor Kevin Bacon took to social media to draw his audience's attention to the escaped animal. And after weeks of remaining on the lam, its owners used a Benadryl-laced sticky bun to knock the thing out and ultimately get it home. It's worth mentioning that, according to the Life with Pigs Farm Animal Sanctuary in Williamsburg, Virginia, Kevin doesn't crack the top 51 name suggestions for boy pigs, losing out to the Leonardos, Piggy Smalls, and Wee Wees of the world. And Kevin Bacon himself told People magazine in November, I no longer eat goat and I no longer eat pig because I have goats and I have pigs. Indeed, even in jest, it does seem somewhat cruel to name an animal for the food they're about to become. Like calling your cow McDouble, your shrimp shrimp. Or if when I was born, my parents named me Greg Longpig. Why Long Pig? Well, that's apparently a mid-19th century translation of an expression used by cannibals from the South Pacific, meaning human flesh used as food. Some think that humans taste like pork. I myself wouldn't know. I'm not much of a people person. And according to this 1882 report from The Pilot, America's oldest Catholic newspaper, on the cannibal islands of Fiji, long pig was at times made into puddings. And a favorite form of revenge was to collect and insult the bones of the enemy, powder them, and serve them up to the survivors when peace had been made and celebrated. This might just sound like a knockoff of that scene from the end of Titus Andronicus or that episode of South Park, but whatever it is, if your boss invites you over to a dinner party for a feast of long pig, you better make up a story about the babysitter. At number 8, how about something from April from the world of mollusks?
A brand new species of snail that has just been discovered has been named after me.
That's 20-year-old conservationist Robert Irwin. And yeah, earlier this week, he announced on TikTok that a new species of snail was discovered in South Queensland, Australia. And the scientists who found the creature named it after him. It's like he's looking into a mirror, right?
What an honor.
Officially dubbed Robert Irwin's banded snail, it's one of 4 new species discovered in a study intended to identify land snails. And this isn't even the first slimy gastropod named for a member of the Irwin family, as Robert noted in this follow-up video.
A lot of your comments were saying, it'd be really cool if there was a snail named after my dad. And I'm here to tell you guys there actually is.
Yep, the Crikey Steve Irwini is named in honor of the late Steve Irwin crocodile hunter. Not to mention Bindiropa irwini here, the Bindi Irwin pinwheel snail, named for Robert's sister. The 20-something Irwin siblings, of course, have long been following in their late father's footsteps. Quite literally, at least in one occasion in Robert's case. And with regards to his new snail here, Robert hopes the creature will draw attention to the importance of protecting all species. Next at number 7 is an incredibly bizarre event from November that should serve as a warning to all you hoarders out there.
This week we had an unusual circumstance. A gentleman came in and asked us or told us that he needed to surrender some mice.
That's the executive director of the New Hampshire SPCA, the Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals. And, you want to take this one? No, it's your story too, go ahead. Just let the lady talk.
It was 150 mice, and we said we would have to pace that. Well, we received the first 3 containers and there were about 75 mice. Over the next 3 days, we received almost 500 mice. And what I've learned so far this morning is that we probably have close to another 500 on their way in today.
You heard right. As this lady told the Associated Press, by Friday morning, about 500 of us made our way to this animal shelter in New Hampshire, with the total number of mice eventually reaching about 1,000 of us guys. And girls. Sorry, and girls. That's actually part of the problem. I said I was sorry.
A female that's, say, 6 months old could have 10 to 14 perhaps. And so when you have, you can only imagine out of 500 mice, 50% of them are female. It's an enormous problem. This is something that got out of control.
I mean, come on. This is not our fault. Everyone here is hot as hell. Obviously, and as the shelter said in a press release, we weren't separated by sex and we've been reproducing uncontrolled at an alarming rate. And the shelter's struggling to manage this kilo of furry little Nick Cannons like us. And even though we're just mice, listen to yourself. Have some self-respect. Sorry, we're pet mice. Pet mice, fancy mice. Friendly, curious, highly social. Yes, all those things. Amorous. But still, we're mice.
So even though these are mice and they're little, to take in a volume of 450 mice in a week is crippling, really.
Now, just to be clear, this is a huge upgrade for us, given that we've been living in, quote, filthy plastic tubs that hadn't been cleaned in what appeared to be a long time. Didn't put a damper on the mood. Well, regardless, the shelter still has standards.
You've got to have bowls for each of them, you've got to have food for them, and bedding, you know, is a consumable. It goes quickly, so does feed. So there's a lot of costs that get involved in this.
So yeah, as the Associated Press notes, part of the shelter's cat pavilion has since been turned into a mouse hospital and hotel. By the way, could you have not put us in the cat pavilion? The optics alone. And while some other New England area shelters have taken in some of us, this particular rescue is still seeking donations and foster families.
We've always had small rodents as pets, rats, mice, hamsters, the whole nine, so.
That's a woman who heard about this predicament, adopted 4 of us, and spoke to the AP, even though she had recently told her kids, no more rodents. I resent that. Don't let perfect be the enemy of good.
I just figured I could help out. We have all the setup and everything I need at home already, so I figured, what the hell?
Yeah, what the hell? So if you want to adopt one of us guys, or girls, sorry, or even just make a donation. Y'all look very similar. If you live in New Hampshire, you can fill out this form to express your interest in fostering, where you'll attest to whether or not your living situation is carnival-like. Because come on, we might be horned up, rapidly reproducing mice that are overwhelming a shelter, but we're not animals. Yes, we are. Oh yeah, big time. Yeah, you're right, we are animals. We're completely animals. That's all we are.
Most of them, if they're friendly, like to be handled, but carefully, and they're just fun to watch.
Flying in at number 6 is another strange one from last March.
Come here, baby.
That's a man in Texas beckoning for his pet bird, which on Sunday got stuck high up in this tree and remained out of his owner's reach for the better part of 3 days.
3 days.
Now normally, birds are known to hang out in trees. It's where they build nests and yak up food to feed their children, after all. But this rare 15-year-old pet Catalina macaw named Samba got spooked during an outdoor photo shoot in Louisville on Sunday and made its way into these 40-foot tall trees. Our owner, some firefighters, and even some tree climbers tried to retrieve the bird, but it remained stubbornly unwilling to descend from the tall shaded branches of the tree. That is, until our owner here deployed a secret weapon, Doritos.
I don't usually give them junk food like this.
Yeah, his bird spent 3 days ignoring food and shrugging off any and all rescue attempts. But a local news reporter in Texas who has 3 young kids happened to be covering this story the other day and also happened to be equipped with plenty of snacks. And, like with most 15-year-olds, the pull of the nacho cheese Dorito proved to be too powerful for Samba to resist.
We did it! 3 days. Oh, man. Here you go, baby.
The bird appeared to be tired and hungry, hence the plowing of his whole beak into the vending machine-sized bag of cheesy tortilla chips. And our owner is pleased to have Samba safe once again.
I'm relieved. You know, I haven't slept in 3 days well because it's like your child. You know, your child is up stuck in a tree, can't get down, and nobody can get him down. I mean, we tried with the fire department, we tried with the tree climbers, and it ended up that and we tried food. Now he's eating the whole bag.
After coming down from the tree, the parrot was bound for the vet. His owner says it was attacked by hawks while it was up there. And even though this animal product company says an adult parrot's diet should consist of 70 to 90% pellet food and 10 to 30% of fresh foods like fruits, vegetables, seeds, treats, and nuts, it looks like our owner is fine with letting those Doritos slide.
It's a special day. He can use the calories. And yeah, he's getting happy now.
In fact, after this all went down, our owner even took the bird out for some mango gelato. Isn't that nice? I hope I get Doritos and ice cream the next time I'm in trouble. Hey, before we get to the top 5, if you're liking this video, please just take a second and give us a like and a hot subscribe to get more stuff like this in your feed going forward. Kind of. Okay, at number 5, it's zebra time from back in May.
What the
That pretty much says it all, doesn't it?
We don't even have to go to Africa.
Okay, sure, because yeah, according to this National Geographic website for children, zebras are a native species to Africa. But in this phone video taken in late April just outside of Seattle, 3 black and white zebras are seen absconding down the street with police in tow. They're among 4 zebras that were being transported from Washington to Montana. But after the owner stopped off the interstate to fix a problem with her trailer, all 4 of them bolted out, as though they were trying to outrun the fate of fruit stripe pinstripe gum. Drivers near this whole scene were able to block the zebras from getting onto the highway, unlike that racehorse we covered here a while back on your news refresh. Please subscribe. And the trio was ultimately corralled with the help of, quote, rodeo professionals. But as I mentioned before, there were 4 zebras that escaped that trailer, and a female zebra named Shrug, as in, has anyone seen that zebra, remained on the lam for days. Throughout the past week, the Regional Animal Services of King County, Washington posted multiple updates. The search enters its 3rd day. 5th day, still missing, and avoid unnecessary trips to the area just to see the zebra. And municipal social media accounts couldn't help but get in on the zebra meme game. The Tacoma Department of Transportation pretended their traffic cameras spotted Shrug on the top of a bridge. The U.S. Department of Energy Office of Science Environmental Molecular Sciences Laboratory photoshopped Shrug near its 21 Tesla Fourier Transform Ion Cyclotron Resonance Mass Spectrometer. And the Pierce County Sheriff's Department pictured Shrug as a police officer, wondering what Lieutenant Z Zebra here would purchase with a signing bonus. One thing Shrug likely wouldn't need would be self-defense classes, as noted by this wildlife expert.
Our understanding is that, she was relatively safe. They have incredible kicking power and incredible aim. I've learned more about zebras than I ever thought I would want to know. Wild cougars are a concern in our area. They have plenty of deer to take. It's not likely that a cougar would have probably gone after her, and if it did, it probably would have been the worst thing they had ever tangled with in its life.
Last Friday, after nearly 6 days on the run, Shrug was ultimately caught in the River Bend neighborhood of North Bend, Washington, and can be seen here, safe and sound, and said to be in good condition. Following her capture, Shrug was bound for Montana, the state where, your news refresh does want to remind you, that a circus elephant recently got loose while taking a bath and ended up roaming the streets there for a while too. Let's hope Shrug doesn't have a gambling problem. Next at number 4, beauty is in the eye of the beholder from this contest in June.
The world's ugliest dog is...
They say that beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but on Friday in Petaluma, California, imperfections were in full demand at an ugly dog contest that dates back to the 1970s. It's an annual animal affair that takes place at the Sonoma Marin Fair. And to be clear, as stated in bold on their website, the world's ugliest dog contest is not about making fun of ugly dogs, but about having fun and showing the world that these dogs are really beautiful. We haven't all been blessed with the good looks and charm of Spuds MacKenzie, This event promotes adopting dogs from shelters rather than breeders, and they say that many of the contestants have been rescued from places like puppy mills.
He's never had a haircut, so that is like the way he is, and she shaves his stomach, and he likes to sleep on ice packs, believe it or not, and he is just a sweet dog. I was just holding him, and he loves to be held and cuddled, so that's part of it. These rescue dogs, they just need forever homes, so please adopt, don't shop.
That's one of the ugly dog contest judges, aka the state treasurer of California, and she's referring to Wild Thing here, an 8-year-old Pekingese rescue dog that caught a viral disease as a puppy that causes his tongue to do that. But beyond his physical appearance, Wild Thing's owner says the good boy is healthy and happy, and he finally took home top prize after years and years of runner-up finishes.
Wild Thing was a fan favorite, and the fact that he had been competing for 5 times and only came in second is kind of like the bridesmaid and never the bride. I think, really tugged at our heartstrings that, he deserved to win.
Upon being named World's Ugliest Dog, Wild Thing and its owner were presented with a huge trophy and a check for $5,000. Huh, now that looks good to me. For the bronze medal, number 3, let's cast Elon Musk out to sea with this piece from July.
He said, it's a message from God.
God's pescatarian instincts might be popping off again, because the message this couple in New Jersey is talking about, fish falling out of the sky and landing on their Tesla.
The car started honking, went crazy honking, which we never heard, and I didn't know how to turn it off. I kind of went out, and he was in the yard somewhere. He heard the crash and everything, but ignored it.
Yeah, so on Sunday out in Atlantic Highlands, New Jersey, this couple heard a commotion involving their Tesla. And when they went to inspect the scene, they found, well, this.
We were like, holy crap, look at this. And I said to him, it looks like fish scales and blood on the windshield.
Sure, some Tesla products are famous for taking a baseball to the glass, but it's something else entirely for a damn fish to fall from the heavens and shatter the car's front windshield. Our couple here was understandably surprised by what they witnessed in the dashcam footage.
Yeah, we're thinking somebody threw it at the car. Like, is somebody after us? Is it vandals? Or,
We said we're glad it didn't hit us.
So what exactly happened here? Was it an act of divine provision? A careless fishmonger with a hell of a pitch from Seattle? Nope. It's actually believed to be the act of a careless bird, one that happened to be carrying a bunker fish in its mouth that ended up dropping the thing on the car. Given the couple lives about a mile away from Raritan Bay where these fish are abundant, makes sense. And this man local news spoke to at the nearby harbor can at least attest to the fact that, well, birds put fish in their mouths.
I've actually seen them flying around in their mouths. It's pretty common.
Also strangely common, and by common I mean something that's happened like once before, is a falling fish causing a power outage. Last August, a police department in Sayreville, New Jersey, which is also not far from that bay, took to social media to mourn the victim of a senseless death. A hardworking family man and father of thousands of children, who's believed to have been a fish that was dropped by a bird onto a transformer. That's certainly one way to quickly grill a fresh catch, though as our couple here observes, this may not have been the dinner of some common flying ocean rat. The missed meal may have been something a bit more majestic.
We also have an eagle's nest in our yard in the back, so we think it was probably the eagle.
Our couple here is expecting to get their Tesla back from repair soon, and they've got an important message for any other clumsy birds out there that might be paying attention.
I lowered my deductible, so if any birds are listening, please don't drop it here because I'm covered now.
In second place, a bizarre warning out of Japanese waters from August. Take a look at this sign in Suruga, Japan, taken earlier this month. Never approach or touch dolphins. You can actually see one in the water near a boat there, so locals better heed that warning and keep their distance, because it's believed that there's a dangerous, horny dolphin causing problems out in Japanese waters. As just observed by the BBC, a lonely and potentially sexually frustrated dolphin has been blamed for a spike in attacks on swimmers in a Japanese seaside town. And this year alone, it's been linked to at least 18 attacks on humans. And while we're not exactly confusing Flipper for Jaws here, the king of the sea, ever so kind and gently as he, might need a tiny rewrite, as local authorities in Japan have been issuing warnings to get out of the water after spotting a dolphin, and not to swim closer to the creature. A marine expert who's with a college in Japan spoke to the Associated Press in Japanese, as is the fashion there, and said that it's believed that these dolphin attacks have been carried out by a lone dolphin that's been separated from its pod and is looking for its playmate. Again, what the New York Times describes as a single, lonely, sexually frustrated dolphin. The type of thing that's destined to be a love interest in season 5 of The Boys. Anyway, as we here in the States continue to enjoy the feminine phenomenon known as brat summer, Japanese media has been sounding the alarm on dolphin threat summer since 2022, as the Times reports that dolphin attacks have injured nearly 50 people since then. Our marine expert observes that dolphins are very curious creatures, so when one finds a human, it decides to play or have fun with that person. And yeah, the internet is full of footage of dolphins making the most of their spare time. But as noted by that expert, when one of these creatures ends up biting someone playfully, it can come as a shock to a human. That expert, though, wants to make it clear that these things aren't ferocious animals. Though in some of these recent cases, these dolphin attacks have led to injuries serious enough to warrant dozens of stitches. In addition to passing out warning leaflets and urging people to never approach or touch this pent-up dolphin, to quite literally keep the thing at bay, they've also installed a device that emits sound waves that dolphins don't like into the water. Sounds like a perfect job for the back catalog of the late Jimmy Buffett. Japan's pretty far away, so I went over to a small freshwater lake in Michigan to scope things out just in case. I feared the worst when I spotted all this caution tape, before remembering that dolphins don't tend to live in small suburban bodies of water in Michigan. And whether that's actually the case or these false dogs are just doing a damn good job keeping watch, this adolescent lifeguard, whose identity we've obscured here, confirmed all was well.
Have you heard of any dolphin attacks at this lake?
I have not.
Are you sure?
I am sure.
Do you know what a dolphin is?
I do know what a dolphin is.
You haven't seen one?
I have not.
All right, fine.
And our top funny animal story of the year, number 1, is from Michigan back in June. And it's the very first one we told you about when you clicked on this.
I'm like, man, it looks like it's choking. So I went back behind it and I started, doing what I was taught to try to save someone from choking.
So recently in Michigan, this guy named Bill was with 2 of his buddies in his yard where they spotted this raccoon.
Initially, when it come up, it was acting a little skittish. It kind of arched its back up like it was ready to attack, and we were keeping our distance from it. And then after a little while, it grew comfortable with us, and it was just kind of roaming around all over the yard.
The thing seemed friendly at first, perhaps a bit too friendly with one of the guys.
We're hanging out, and it realized that we weren't a threat to it. It got closer to us and let us pet it, and then it climbed up on my leg.
As the night went on, this guest decided to help itself to a snack in the proper manner of any raccoon.
Must have delved into our trash. Looked like he had a little piece of cheese with him, and he was eating it, started choking, and it did this weird little thing. It reared up on its hind legs and was given seemingly, it looked like the universal sign for choking. It was kind of really strange. I was like, Billy, you might want to check this out. And next thing I know, Billy's over there patting him on the back. A little bit lower, Bill. Upward motion. There you go. There it is. Let's save this one. Let's go. You're not gonna die, Marwan. You're not gonna die. I hope you got that.
I was in total disbelief. I couldn't stop laughing because I literally could not believe what was going on. Bill's literally smacking a wild raccoon and it's letting him do it.
Yeah, you may notice that as Bill attempts to save the creature's life with some helpful but forceful pats, his friends pepper him with advice.
I'm like, dude, you're doing it a little bit wrong. You might want to do it at a little bit lower, like an upward motion. And as soon as he did that, it shot that right out of its mouth. Let's go. You're not gonna die.
You know, without my coach over there, you know, telling me the proper way to do it, it probably wouldn't have lived. So it's pretty awesome.
I was really excited for the little guy because he was in a bad way, and it could have been really bad. It would have been horrible, you know, to watch that little sucker die. But it all worked out. I was pretty impressed. I did not expect any of this viralness to happen.
Yeah. On TikTok alone, this video they recorded has been viewed around 20 million times. Just like this video, right? And in the comments, Lil Yukon wrote, "Raccoon walking away like, why bro pet so hard?" AJ Man Foxworthy, "If you ever saved a raccoon from choking, you might be a redneck." And J-Man Devil asked, "Did a bunch of drunken stone fellas just save a raccoon from choking? America." To which one of the guys replied, "Hell yes, brother."
People online call me a hero and everything else. It's crazy.
I do think Bill's a hero, yeah. I mean, if he wouldn't have done it, I would have jumped in, but then we wouldn't have got it on video.
Before we put this guy in a coin, it's worth pointing out that Michigan's Department of Natural Resources considers raccoons nuisance wildlife, as they can damage your yard or feed on your livestock. But it seems like for these bros, this raccoon is now another one of the gang, and they're looking forward to him coming back.
Well, we've been close for 20 years, so, but, you know, now we got a new buddy, Rocket.
Actually, John gets credit for the name. He named it Rocket from Guardians of the Galaxy. Rocket is not returned, but Friday we're hoping to see him, so.
It is worth pointing out that a new study of 2.3 million people just found that eating cheese can help you live longer, as a higher intake of cheese contributes to a positive mental well-being that contributes to your longevity. Then again, having a guy who can pound the cheese out of your throat when you're choking on it can help you live longer too.
There it is.
So yeah, 2024 was a pretty weird year for our furry, stripy, slimy, and unexpectedly airborne friends. And your news refresh happened to be here for all of it. Again, I'm Greg Ott, and thanks for watching. And if you like this kind of stuff, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and like this video to get more stuff like this in your feed. Probably. Bye.